The night sky over Konoha shimmered with an eerie glow, the full moon hanging low, its pale light casting long shadows across the village. Naruto Uzumaki stood atop the Hokage monument, his orange jacket fluttering in the cold wind as he gazed upward, his blue eyes narrowed. Something was wrong. The moon, usually a silent observer, seemed to pulse with an unnatural energy, as if whispering secrets only he could sense. Behind him, Sasuke Uchiha materialized from the darkness, his Sharingan already active, the crimson tomoe spinning slowly. "You feel it too," Sasuke stated, his voice low. Naruto nodded, his grip tightening around Kurama's chakra, the golden aura flickering to life around him. "Yeah, it's like the moon's calling to me. But not in a good way." Before either could react, the ground beneath them trembled, fissures splitting the stone as a figure descended from the sky, wreathed in silver light. Long, flowing white hair, eyes like polished opals, it was Kaguya's kin, a celestial they had never seen before. Naruto Uzumaki, the figure intoned, voice echoing with an otherworldly resonance. "The moon's whisper has awakened. And you are the key to its release." Naruto's fists clenched, his whisker marks deepening as he shifted into a battle stance. "Who the hell are you?" The celestial smiled, a chilling expression devoid of warmth. "I am Tsukio, last of the Otsutsuki's forgotten lineage. And tonight, I reclaim what was stolen from us." Without warning, Tsukio lunged, his hand extending into a blade of condensed moonlight. Naruto barely dodged, the attack slicing through the air where his head had been. Sasuke was already moving, his Chidori screeching to life as he thrust it toward Tsukio's flank. But the celestial twisted midair, deflecting the lightning with a crescent-shaped barrier of pure lunar energy. The impact sent Sasuke skidding backward, his Sharingan analyzing the unfamiliar technique. "His chakra. It's not like Kaguya's," Sasuke muttered. "It's colder. More refined." Naruto didn't wait for another opening. With a roar, he unleashed a barrage of shadow clones, each one weaving hand signs in unison. Wind style, Rasen Shuriken. The spiraling discs of chakra hurtled toward Tsukio, their edges slicing through the night. But the celestial merely raised a hand, the moonlight around him solidifying into a shield that absorbed the attack effortlessly. The clones dispersed in puffs of smoke as Tsukio flickered forward, his knee slamming into Naruto's gut. The force sent Naruto crashing through the monument's stone face, rubble cascading around him. Sasuke's Rinnegan flared as he activated Amino Tejikara, swapping places with a kunai embedded near Tsukio. His sword, crackling with black flames, arced toward the celestial's neck. Yet Tsukio anticipated it, his body dissolving into moonlight before reforming behind Sasuke. "Your eyes are impressive," Tsukio mused, "but they cannot perceive the true nature of my power." A whip of lunar energy lashed out, wrapping around Sasuke's wrist and yanking him off balance. Naruto burst from the debris, his body now cloaked in the full might of Kurama's chakra mode, nine tails swaying behind him. "You're not laying a finger on him," he snarled, lunging with a fist wreathed in orange flames. Tsukio crossed his arms, summoning a mirror-like barrier, but Naruto's punch shattered it, sending cracked spider webbing through the lunar construct. The celestial's eyes widened slightly, a flicker of surprise, before he retaliated with a palm strike that sent a shockwave of condensed moonlight rippling outward. Naruto crossed his arms, bracing against the impact, his feet carving grooves into the stone. Sasuke seized the moment, his Rinnegan swirling as he summoned Susanoo, the skeletal form rapidly encasing him in violet armor. The perfect Susanoo's sword descended, but Tsukio vanished again, reappearing high above them. "Enough distractions," he declared, raising both hands. The moon's glow intensified, beams of light converging into a single, devastating point. Lunar cataclysm. The energy lanced downward, a pillar of destruction that forced Naruto and Sasuke to act in unison, Naruto forming a massive Rasengan while Sasuke infused it with Amaterasu flames. The collision shook the earth, a shockwave tearing through the landscape as the two forces clashed. When the dust settled, Tsukio hovered unharmed, his expression unreadable. "You fight well," he admitted. "But you do not yet understand. This is not a battle you can win, not when the very moon itself is my ally." Naruto wiped blood from his lip, his eyes burning with defiance. "We've beaten gods before," he shot back. "And we'll do it again." Sasuke adjusted his grip on his sword, his Rinnegan locking onto Tsukio's chakra signature. "He's drawing power directly from the moon," he murmured. "We need to cut off his connection." Tsukio's smile returned, colder than before. "Clever. But knowing and doing are two very different things." With that, he raised a hand, and the moon's surface seemed to ripple, shadows twisting into monstrous, lupine forms that descended upon the village. The battle had only just begun. The air crackled with tension as Naruto stood atop the shattered ruins of Konoha, his breath ragged, his eyes locked onto the figure hovering above him, the moon's whisper, a celestial being once thought to be an ally, now bathed in an eerie silver glow. "You betrayed us," Naruto growled, his voice thick with fury. The whisper's laughter echoed like distant chimes, cold and mocking. "Betrayal implies loyalty ever existed. Your world is but a stepping stone." Sasuke materialized beside Naruto in a swirl of black flames, his Sharingan spinning rapidly. "No more talk," he muttered. In an instant, they moved. Naruto lunged forward, a golden aura erupting around him as Kurama's chakra surged, while Sasuke vanished, reappearing behind the whisper with his sword flashing. The whisper barely flinched, their form dissolving into moonlight before reforming just out of reach. "Predictable," they sighed, flicking a hand. A crescent blade of pure energy slashed toward Sasuke, who barely deflected it with his Susanoo skeletal arm. Naruto wasn't idle. He formed a barrage of shadow clones, each weaving hand signs in unison. Wind style, Rasen Shuriken. The spiraling discs of chakra screamed through the air, but the whisper merely raised a palm, absorbing the attack into their own energy. "Your power is mine to command," they taunted. Naruto's fists clenched. If brute force wouldn't work, they needed strategy. Sasuke's Rinnegan flared as he teleported Naruto into close range, their movements synced from years of battle. Naruto feinted left, drawing the whisper's gaze, while Sasuke struck from above with Amaterasu. The black flames licked at the celestial being's form, but they shrugged it off like water. "Annoying," the whisper hissed, before their body erupted into a blinding pulse of light. The shockwave sent both shinobi skidding back, their defenses barely holding. Naruto spat blood, his mind racing. They couldn't land a hit, every attack was absorbed or dodged. Then he remembered Kurama's words, "Their power is tied to the moon. Break the connection." He shot Sasuke a glance, and with a nod, they understood. Sasuke's Susanoo flared to life, its armored wings spreading as he launched skyward, drawing the whisper's attention. Naruto channeled every ounce of sage mode, his eyes burning with determination. The whisper smirked, preparing another blast, but Sasuke's Susanoo suddenly detonated in a burst of chakra, forcing them to shield their eyes. In that split second, Naruto struck. Planetary Rasengan. The colossal sphere of energy, infused with natural chakra, slammed into the whisper's chest, not to damage, but to disrupt. The celestial being gasped as their silver glow flickered, their connection to the moon wavering. Now vulnerable, the whisper snarled, their form distorting. "You insects." They retaliated with a storm of razor-sharp moonlight, but Naruto and Sasuke were already moving, their teamwork flawless. Sasuke's Chidori met Naruto's Rasengan in a combined strike, the force tearing through the whisper's defenses. For the first time, they staggered, their celestial aura dimming. But the fight wasn't over. The whisper's eyes burned with fury as they began to mutate, their body expanding into a monstrous, moonlit titan. "You will perish." The ground quaked as they swung a massive fist, obliterating the landscape. Naruto and Sasuke dodged in opposite directions, their bodies pushed to the limit. Blood dripped from Sasuke's Rinnegan, his vision blurring, while Naruto's chakra reserves dwindled. Yet neither would yield. Naruto roared, tapping into Baryon mode, his lifespan burning like a dying star. Sasuke, seeing his friend's sacrifice, pushed his Susanoo to its final evolution, a perfect, armored warrior wielding a sword of pure lightning. Together, they charged. The clash was cataclysmic. Naruto's fists moved faster than light, each strike eroding the whisper's form, while Sasuke's blade carved through their defenses. The whisper screamed, their titan body cracking under the assault. "Impossible!" They shrieked, but it was too late. With one final, thunderous blow, Naruto and Sasuke shattered the celestial being's core, their combined power erupting in a blinding explosion. As the dust settled, Naruto collapsed to his knees, his body spent. Sasuke staggered beside him, his Susanoo crumbling. The moon above flickered, its influence broken. They had won, but at what cost? The whisper's final words lingered in the air like a curse, "This is not the end." The battle was over, but the war had only just begun. The battlefield trembled beneath Naruto's feet as the moon's pale glow bathed the shattered landscape in an eerie light. Above him, the celestial traitor, Tsukiyomi's harbinger, hovered with wings of fractured starlight, its voice a venomous whisper that slithered into his mind. "You cannot win, child of the sun. The moon's will is absolute." Naruto gritted his teeth, his chakra flaring like a dying star, his body battered but unbroken. Around him, his allies lay strewn across the ruins, Sasuke's Sharingan flickering weakly, Sakura's healing hands trembling as she fought to keep them alive. This was it, the final stand. With a roar, Naruto lunged, his Rasengan spiraling with the fury of 1,000 winds. The Harbinger countered, its blade of condensed moonlight meeting his strike in a cataclysmic clash. The shockwave ripped through the earth, sending fissures spiderwebbing outward. Naruto felt his muscles scream, his bones threatening to shatter, but he pushed harder. "I won't let you rewrite destiny," he snarled. Behind him, Sasuke forced himself up, his Rinnegan blazing as he summoned Amaterasu's black flames, weaving them into a serpent that coiled around the Harbinger's limbs. The creature shrieked, its celestial flesh sizzling, but it wasn't enough. Sakura's fist cratered the ground as she launched herself skyward, chakra-enhanced strength propelling her like a comet. "Now!" she screamed. Naruto and Sasuke moved in perfect sync, their rivalry, their bond, crystallized in this moment. The Harbinger's wings lashed out, but Naruto dodged, his shadow clone swarming like a golden tide. Sasuke's Susanoo materialized, its skeletal fingers closing around the enemy as Sakura's punch connected, the impact resonating like a gong. The Harbinger's form cracked, luminous ichor spilling like liquid silver. Yet it laughed, its voice echoing from the heavens. "Fools! You cannot destroy what is eternal." The moon above pulsed, its light intensifying, and Naruto felt his chakra waver, the very fabric of his energy unraveling. Despair threatened to choke him, but then, a whisper. "Not the moon's, but Kurama's. You've never been alone, idiot." The Nine Tails' power surged within him, a final, desperate gambit. Naruto's eyes blazed gold as he reached into the depths of his soul, grasping at the last ember of his will. Sasuke, bleeding and breathless, met his gaze. No words were needed. Their hands came together, Indra and Asura, hatred and hope, unleashing a storm of power that tore reality asunder. The Rasengan and Chidori fused, a vortex of light and darkness that consumed the Harbinger's form. The creature's screams faded as its essence scattered like stardust, the moon's influence shattering like glass. Silence. Naruto collapsed to his knees, his vision swimming. Sakura was already at his side, her healing glow warm against his skin. Sasuke stood over them, his Sharingan dimming. "We did it," he muttered, though the words carried the weight of exhaustion. Above them, the moon's glow softened, its malevolence purged. The world felt lighter, as if a shadow had been lifted. Days later, Konoha began to rebuild. The celestial betrayal had left scars, both physical and spiritual, but also clarity. Naruto, gazing at the night sky, felt the weight of his role as Hokage deepen. The universe had shifted, the balance between Earth and cosmos forever altered. Sasuke, his path no longer shrouded in vengeance, stood beside him. "What now?" he asked. Naruto grinned, though his eyes held the wisdom of battles fought and sacrifices made. "We keep moving forward. Together." The moon, now just a silent witness, cast its gentle light upon a world reborn.